Come on, please. Yes! 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 Yes!
Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is episode number 27 of the 9 Dart Podcast, your one-stop shop for talking tungsten. Lorenzo and Josh discussing what it has been the week that's been the World Matchplay. It was, of course, the big event in World Darts. How are we, Josh?
Very good. How are you?
I'm all right. We're both in football-related, AFL-related stuff today.
Actually.
I'm in Cats, you're in Blues. Differing navy blue and
one
white,
good
of
team,
course.
one crap team.
Yes. This week, though, we have the World Matchplay to review. We, of course, did
Absolutely.
about half of the World Matchplay review last week, given our recording date fell right in the middle of the tournament. And as we go to the first thoughts, it really was a thrilling installment of the World Matchplay, one of the great editions. Every round had something interesting, some upsets, some crazy moments, as we'll get to in a second. Overall, it was once again another strong advertisement for one of the best tournaments on the calendar, and many players' favourites for very good reason. It was such a great week.
Undoubtedly. There was so many good results. Lots of 10-8s, 12-10s, 16...
A few games needed
14s,
overtime.
20-18s. You know, there was 16-14s in there. There was so many good close results, and that's what we want. You know, there was very little blowouts as such.
That was very much true. Only a handful of really one-sided matches, and that's what it should be at the World Matchplay. It's the best 16 off the 2-year system and the best 16 off the 1-year system.
Yep.
So it really should be the best of the best,
quality.
the creme de la
Best of
creme,
the best.
so to speak.
Cream of the crop.
Rising to the top, and that is what we very much saw in the World Matchplay really all week. It really was extraordinary. And semi-final day might be the greatest day in the history of the World Matchplay, and one of the best individual days in darts since, I don't know, the 2012 World Championship semi-finals when they both went to 11 sets at the Alley Bally. So we had several crazy moments. The first was in the quarterfinal match, though. This is a 170 out from Gezi in the 11th leg, the maximum finish. In the first round in his loss against Gary Anderson, Luke Woodhouse also had a 167 to kick things off. It was the second leg, I think it was. So there was some crazy stuff. Josh Rock also reeled in the big fish as well. We had three 161s in that crazy Wade Clayton match. And James Wade looks like he was cruising to victory up 16-10, just needed one of the next 6. And then all of a sudden, here comes Johnny Clayton roaring his way back to force overtime. And then James Wade hits a 161 in the 33rd leg, in the first overtime leg. And eventually goes on to win 20 legs to 18 in that match. But even better, perhaps, was the semi-final that followed it. Luke Littler was down 5 legs to 0 after the first break. He started very slowly, as he
Josh
often
Rock was incredible.
does. Josh Rock was incredible. And then what happened in the 8th leg? Arguably the greatest leg of all time. I still probably have a number 2. And so does Wayne Mardle. A 9-dart finish from Luke Littler in a leg where nobody missed. It was bound to happen at some point. We'd have someone hit a 9-darter when someone else was on a 9.
Yep.
It was that was ridiculous. And Luke Littler's reaction brought up memories of Adrian Lewis against Raymond van Barneveld at the World Championship.
As soon as I saw it, I'm like, but who did it better? I think Adrian Lewis did it better.
Adrian Lewis did it a bit better. I think I've watched it back several times. You'll be surprised to know. And
which one? The Adrian Lewis one?
Both.
This one.
But mainly this one this week. And he doesn't really react, and I think part of that reason was he was still 6-2 down. He needed a few more breaks to throw to get really back in level pegging. So it was just sort of another leg of several that he needed to rattle off. But it was pretty good. Shall we watch the 1-4-1 again?
Let's do it.
Will this play automatically?
Yes, it will. There we go. Perfect. Very classy by Josh Rock as always.
It was. Kirk Bevan's 180 call just got higher and higher pitched as the leg went on. As they were rushing through it, he just needed to squeeze in the 180 and the Luke Iroquois and the game shot. It was all brilliant. Kirk Bevans, he's done both of the greatest legs ever. Wayne Mardle on commentary for both as well.
Perfect.
So perfect
combination.
Yeah, it all perfectly worked out for on that. Again, it's much like the other, they're both on 9's legs. It just feels like there's nothing really you can improve in terms of the sound of it, the sound of the place, the commentary involved, the tone of the referee. Everything just sort of lined up perfectly for that good minute and a half. And it's, as Wayne Mardle said, this is what happens when you throw second against Luke Littler. You got no hope.
No hope.
Even if
Rock
you hit
was
back
obviously
to
on the
nose.
9, who was 321 after 6 and then 1-4, one after 9. And did you notice he went the treble 17, double
He went
15
the treble 17,
route?
double 15 route again. Yeah, he's
Rare.
sticking away from double
Rare.
12. He's
Very
the only
rare.
guy. He likes that segment on the ball with
I think
double
there was
10
some
and double
banter
15.
with Owen Binks some time ago where
Oh,
he's like, oh, which route are you going to do next if you're on? It's like, oh, I'm going to go triple 17, double 15 this time.
Yeah.
So
he said that
beware.
he said that before the Premier League 9 data, which
Oh,
he
there
could
you
go
go.
in the same
Okay.
route. That's where that
That
comes
was what I was
from.
referring to.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so he's sticking to that particular route, even though double 15's not is a bizarre double to leave at the end of those combinations, because if you miss inside, you need to burn a double, or you don't get another go if you miss with dart 2. Nevertheless, it works to Luke Littler, and this is the thing we're going to see with Littler, because we saw it all week from the man who went on to win the whole tournament. By the way, in case you're only just catching up on that now. He's going to throughout however long his career lasts, and hopefully it lasts for many more years, and I'm confident it will.
Sure.
It'll be all based on feeling for him. If he's not hitting tops and 10s, he'll switch to the 16s and 8s, and if he's not hitting those, he'll go back to tops and 10s. It's going to be very hard for the spotters, but that's just going to that is the best way for him to win. He can hit any portion of the dartboard, of course.
Of the other ring.
When you have that, when you have the talent, then he does. So it won't particularly matter to him. But I think tops and 10s is still the plan A. But he's got other routes he can fall back on in certain circumstances, and we saw that put to use very well in that Premier League semi-final where he was battling a bit against Gerwyn Price, and we saw it all through this week. He was switching and changing between what ways he'd like to go. So. That's how it's going to be, I reckon, for Luke Littler going forward. But overall, obviously, winner of the tournament beats Ryan Searle 10-2 in a dominating performance, 108 average, nearly 109. And then he got in a tough battle with Jermaine Watermaner, but was able to get over the line.
Played very well.
13-11. Watermaner played well. Then in the quarterfinal, Andrew Gilding just did not go away.
He refused
to give in and only went down 16-14, did Goldfinger. That thumbs up celebration is one of my best, and I'm using it everywhere. Jeremy Cameron used it at the football as well. 17-14 was that match against Josh Rock, and then the final, 18-13 over James Wade. He went down 5. He lost the first session. He was swept in the first session, 5-0 on both occasions. But it doesn't matter with Luke Littler over these long formats, because he knows he has the gears to just roar with the bay back. And after the second break, it was 5-5, and it was relatively level pegging. Again, James Wade, as he typically does in these World Matchplay finals that he loses, graphs away. But he went down on this particular occasion, and Luke Littler now very much in the elite of the elite now as a Triple Crown winner, which has been mentioned a lot by both Humphreys and Littler in recent times. It is important to them.
Oh, for sure. No doubt. Well, in that final, you said it was 5-0 down, but as I said to you off air, these long formats, you don't have to panic.
No,
you don't have to panic. You just got to win that mini session, then win it again. You can go 3-2 that mini session, 3-2 in the next one. You can slowly but surely peg back. You don't need to try and rush and win 8 legs in a row or whatever. But he did a very good job and well deserved. But got to give credit to James Wade as well. He was very, very impressive.
Absolutely. I know there continues to be all sorts of debate in the darts world. Is it really a Triple Crown? What counts as a major? That sort of thing.
True.
And I think Sky Sports is really behind this because obviously they have the rights to all 3 of those tournaments and have been since the start. So, and you listen to guys, people like Stephen Bunting. They want to be in the Premier League.
Yep.
And they would jump at the opportunity if they got an invite next year. Most people would. Gary Anderson won't. We know that, but everyone else pretty much does. I was gonna. I might say that for later if we have the time. But yeah, very, very strong week, obviously, from Littler. 107.5 in the semi-final, 107.24 in the final in terms of 3-dart average. It is insane stuff, and it's very hard to beat. And you can play great stuff, which Rock did and Wade did. Basically, everyone except Searle really put on a very good performance against Littler, but it's just not enough when he has the gears that he has.
No.
And the ability as well to be in a tight situation and then plow in 2 180s and take all the pressure off.
Exactly. Yeah. Just
which is extraordinary.
I don't know how he does it. He just does it again and again and again. He just finds these levels in him, finds these gears to go. I've got these purple patches, and he just does not give up. That guy.
Yeah,
some character.
Triple crown winner,
Got some
as I
beautiful
mentioned
stats
earlier.
here.
Here we go. So Phil Taylor, not surprised to absolutely anyone, dominated 16 World Matchplays, which was 2/3 of the first 24. He played in 24 World Matchplays, he won 16. That's 2/3 of the first 24 of the event, which is ridiculous, given, again, the match play is the elite of the elite, the power. The greatest of all time, of course, 36 of those. Michael Van Gerwen's dominating the Premier League, of course, with 7, and he's got 3 each of the World Championship, the World Match Play. Gary's got a couple of world titles in Premier Leagues, and he's got a match play as well. And Littler and Humphreys each have 1 of each. And completing that over very brief periods of time, just in 2024 and 2025.
No doubt.
To get all of that done, which shows how much they've risen to the occasion. And, well, Littler to this point in his career, he's got the Worlds, he's got the Premier League, he's got the Match Play, the UK Open, the Slam. He's got 3 World Series events, which includes the finals. He's got 3 Euro Tours, 3 Players' Championship events. He's hit 7 9-darters, including 4 on TV. He's already a third away to what I think he'll eventually get, which is most TV 9-darters. I don't think he'll get to Phil's World Championship record of 16, but I think he can get past Phil's 11 9-darters on TV and MVG's 10. 234 and 70 career record. He's pretty much averaging basically 100 with 160 ton-plus averages, and 1,434 180s, which is 1,434 more than me.
If you don't mind.
And that was just in
That's
the
true.
that's just in PDC darts alone. Doesn't count JDC or practice or anything like
Or
that.
MODUS as well.
Or MODUS
yeah.
or any of
those
the
other
other
tournaments
millions
he's
of
done.
competitions he's played in at such a young age. And the way after the match, he said he sort of wants to do a sort of, now perhaps it won't be exactly like Phil Taylor. He won 7 or 8 World Matchplays in a row at one point and 8 World titles in a row at one point. But he says he does really want to dominate. And obviously the first minimum is to pick up 1 of everything.
Yep.
So there's still, what hasn't he won? The World Masters, the Grand Prix. He has won a game of the Grand Prix because he lost first round that last year as well.
Yep.
The European Championship, which he lost first round last year as well. The World Cup, obviously. Now, you could argue that doesn't count as a major.
Well,
but
still.
he would still like to win that, obviously.
Pretty important.
For his country. And at least win a game there this time. What were the other ones? Did I mention? I mentioned Masters,
What doesn't he won?
Grand Prix, European Championship, Players Championship finals, which he lost in the final last year, and the Cup. So they're probably the 5 biggest
There you
events he
go.
hasn't won yet. So he'd like to win one of those, and I think he can certainly, obviously, get through multiple of those. And by what I read, a lot of people say Littler won't be around in like 5 years' time, and I'm not of that opinion.
Please.
He loves darts. It's all he's ever known. Maybe in about 20 years, maybe about the age Michael is now, he might consider packing it up.
Maybe.
If he wins like 6 or 8 world titles, which he absolutely could. But
no
I
doubt.
think in the short, I don't see him going anywhere in any way, going away anytime soon. I think he's got a very fruitful next decade in front of him.
Neither do I. He's been saying on plenty of shows and podcasts and media that he wants to win these titles again and again and again, and wants to obviously pick up the ones as you mentioned. So he's still got plenty of stuff to pick up, and he'll be eyeing to tick those off as he goes along in his illustrious career. That we
Yes,
think
it
he
is
will.
extraordinary. He's still number 2 in the world, but the gap
Yep.
is only 2,900.
It's not much, no.
70.25. Based on how much Luke Humphreys has got to defend, unless Humphreys basically wins all those tournaments he won 2 years ago, rather, the Grand Prix, the Slam, and the Players Championship finals. If Humphreys doesn't win all of those, and I'm still expecting, and I have thought of this for a while, that Luke Littler will be world number 1 by the time we get to the World Championships. I feel like with still
It's
nothing
true.
to defend, remarkably, on his order of merit. He's in very good position to
No
go to world number 1, perhaps as early as sort of November, but definitely going into the World Championship. We'll get back to Wadey in a moment. But the other big event at Blackpool, well, there was actually a couple because Paige Pauling was a winner on the World Matchplay stage as well. But Lisa Ashton, now I said it would be a surprise if anyone other than like Bo, Noa-Lynn or Fallon made the final. And amazingly, Lisa Ashton not only beat Bo Greaves
Yes,
5 legs
she
to
did.
3. Bo Greaves below her best, only averaging 85.5 in that semi-final. She went on to beat Fallon Sherrick after she missed, what, a dozen
did.
darts for the
Yeah,
championship?
it
of
was
Fallon?
5-5, I think it was, at
Yeah.
one stage, and Fallon had, I think it was 12 mismatched darts.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
across
sure.
multiple,
Yeah.
across the second last leg and
Yep.
last leg as well. But yeah, Lisa Ashton, she's been around for a long time,
She
the Lancashire
has.
Rose.
Yep.
Multiple time BDO Women's World Champion, of course. So one last thing really to tick off there. Maybe one more. Maybe a PDC World Championship match win would be great as well.
That'd be nice as well, for
It's
sure.
sort of the last couple of things to tick off. So as a result, well, let's just go through it quickly. The number 4 seed beat Robin Byrne 4-2 in the first round. Then a 5-3 win over Bo Greaves. And a 6-5 win over Fallon Sherrick. By the way, Gemma Hayter put up a very strong fight against Fallon Sherrick, as you predicted.
Yep.
Wasn't able to get over the line, losing 4-3, but was a very strong performance from Gemma Hayter. At any rate, though, Lisa Ashton won the tournament and thus has earned a spot at the Grand Slam of Darts later in the year and at the World Championship. That is, of course, coming up with dates we'll talk about in a moment.
We will.
So that is the outcome for not just winning, obviously, a big prize in her career,
Big
right
trophy
up there,
and
but
some
also
good money.
there's a couple of additional spots at the and just a couple of additional spots in future tournaments as well for Lisa Ashton. Strong women's world match play, but I would like to see it expand a little bit and format lengthen. And I think a lot of the players say that in post-match interviews on that Sunday afternoon.
What was it, first to 6 in the final?
Yep.
Yeah, it should be at least, I reckon, 9.
9 or 10?
Maybe not 9 or 10. Yeah, so what it was it first to 4 in the quarters?
Yes, first to 4,
so
5
then,
and 6.
So you can sort of push that to 6, then push that to 8. And you can increase it both by 2. So 4 to 6, 5 to 7, or make it sort of 6, 8, 10, maybe, potentially. But it needs to be longer for sure, because a lot of people have lashed out online saying it's way too short. You don't give these people a chance to sort of come back, because similar to the early days of the World Cup, if you don't have a good start, you could be in deep trouble.
Yeah.
So definitely needs to be increased. People said that a lot. I'm saying that. You're saying that, I'm sure.
Vinakainen came all the way from Finland to play 5 legs and lose 4-1.
There you go.
It's less than ideal.
There you go. Very unideal. But well done to Lisa. She was very, very good.
She was. Beating the really two biggest names in women's darts in Bo and Fallon.
Exactly.
Really, not just at the moment, but really of all time. So well done, Lisa Ashton, through to a Grand Slam at the World Championship as well if she takes those places. Back to the men's world match play. We have to talk about James Wade because he likes to tell us that nobody talks about him much, so we should talk about him. And it was a strong week from the machine.
It was.
You said he wouldn't even beat Joe Cullen, but I'm pretty sure you did say that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
a strong week, 10-3, 11-5, 13-6, 2018, grafting his way through those last couple of matches, especially against Johnny Clayton when the momentum was completely against him, and then he put out a 1-6-1 to rub it out of the hat. It was definitely a strong week, which puts him to number 5 in the world. He's not that far behind Stephen. Is he pushing maybe for a Premier League spot? A guaranteed Premier League spot, James Wade, maybe.
I'm sure he wants it, no doubt. But no, he just showed his caliber of what his best is, and against some really quality opposition.
His scoring
Cullen,
was almost as
Nyman,
good
Van
as it's ever
Veen,
been.
Clayton, those are some real good opponents. Really, really good. We've got Premier League material in there for most of it. Obviously, these guys weren't in the Premier League this year, but they're sort of pushing on that spot, on that cusp to sort of be, especially Clayton.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a very strong week from James Wade. He wasn't the only one though.
Yes.
Josh Rock making gets another big run on TV after winning the World Cup, getting to a semi-finals, up now to world number 11.
I said he make the final. He was close.
Yes,
Very,
number
very
11
close.
in between Damon Hatter and Gary Anderson. Andrew Gilding as well, big shout out. We love Goldfinger.
He was very good.
And he and his thumb made it all the way to the quarter-final.
Yep.
A strong week for Andrew.
Beat Hedda and Dirk.
Yes, he's up to world number 20.
He was very
the former UK
consistent.
Open champion.
He was very steady. He had a really solid throw. I'm not sure how closely you watch his throw, but you know how he goes to the middle and he steps like one step to his left every time. It's so consistent. I'm like, wow. And he banged in those treble 20s a lot. So it was very, very impressive to watch.
That's my computer on not a lot of charge. These computers probably won't make it the entire podcast, I'm afraid. Anyway, Jan Van Veen and Johnny Clayton as well. Van Veen, again, with that big surprise in the first round. Well, I said big surprise. Upset of sorts against Luke Humphries, the one number 1. And Johnny Clayton as well coming through, as I expected him to do from that second bracket, remaining very steady Eddie. If we had, again, I sort of asked this after the World Cup, but if we were looking at putting through a Premier League I don't know whether you want to do this as who you think will be in the Premier League next year, or if you had to pick a Premier League starting tomorrow, who would you be?
Yep.
Humphries, Littler, Van Gogh, and Bunting are still in the world's top 4,
Sure.
provisionally after the World Championship and currently, so you can't worry about that. Who are the next lot that you would be looking at in terms of potential Premier League selection?
That next 4, the bottom 4.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
4
in the
wild
mix.
cards. Yeah.
I want Hedda, of course. I think I want Rock.
Yeah, you're
I
gonna have
said,
Rock.
I think it was 2 episodes ago, I said, it was after the
World Cup.
for Northern Ireland, their victory over Wales. I said, we were talking about Josh Rock should be in the
Premier League.
Premier League
Yeah,
very soon.
He's
So
definitely in the Premier League at the moment off that.
that's my 2. Who else have I got? What do I
Did
think?
Johnny Clayton make it off the back of a couple of
Could.
deep runs, and James Wade as well?
I reckon they're
Gezzy's had a strong
pushing
season.
for it. Yeah.
I felt the most
Gezzy,
likely in the moment, and obviously I'd love Damo there, but I think the most likely at the
price for
moment are Wade, Gezzy, Johnny, and Josh. They're probably 4th with the likes of Dobie and Heta are probably the next back just behind them. There's still a lot of darts to be played in the back end of the year. We know major season is not too far away, starting really from October onwards. So there's still a lot to happen, and we know that winning an event, Mike Dedeker, doesn't necessarily put you in.
That's true.
So that's still a lot of still got to have a good, strong back end of the year. But yeah, all the guys we mentioned there are all certainly they're certainly Premier League material
for sure
on their own, and could very well make their way to the world's into this class that is the Premier League.
I'll say I reckon if Header won against Gilding and maybe against Dirk and maybe pushed for a round 2 quarterfinal chance, he may have got a bit more attention. But I reckon it was still pretty good. He had a cracking game
and
against
he's got a
Gilding,
couple
as
of
you
Premier
mentioned.
League light tournaments coming
does.
up in Australia
He
and New
does.
Zealand in the coming weeks.
World Series.
Chris Dobie disappointed in his match, and we were
Very.
hoping for a very strong performance from him. But to be fair, Gowan Price in that mood was very hard to
good.
beat at 108. But Chris
108,
Dobie didn't
yeah.
really give him much of a challenge, losing 11-3 and averaging 96.5. He was our biggest flop.
Yeah, he wasn't great. He just looked really sort of out of sorts in a way. Obviously, Price was playing fantastic. He was just all over him, but he didn't really have a chance. But from what I saw, he didn't look amazing. He was a bit shoddy on his doubles at times. But yeah, obviously, I know for sure he'll bounce back. He's a Premier League player for a reason, but Hollywood just wasn't great on this occasion.
We're going to pretty much wrap up our match play talk, but just a few more noteworthy things to mention in terms of Luke Littler's World Matchplay win. He broke the record for most 180s in the tournament.
He did.
64. That match against with him and Rock, they hit a combined.
That was incredible.
What was it? 29, I think, 180s or something
I
like
think
that.
it was around 30,
It was the most
fraction
in a
under.
World Matchplay match. That was that. So those really two things were two of the big statistical achievements of the week.
Sure.
It's certainly in terms of the 180 counter, we had plenty of those over the tournament. And so Luke Littler, winner of the World Match Play. Plenty of winners and losers coming out of that particular event. My disappointing moment this week. Where are the seeds? 13 of the world's top 16 were not in. That should say Hildesheim, and he corrected that in the following post. Dave Chisnall, Ross Smith, Danny Noppert were the only men at this championship event. So that seeds 13, 14 and 15. Peter Wright is 16. I understand why they didn't go, but
did
it's a
notice
bit
that.
disappointing.
It is.
Which is why we'll get to who won the event in the end. And
We
when you
will.
look at the route to get there, you go, oh yeah. So these were the best guys left in the field. So yeah, a bit disappointing not to have the best guys. Obviously, it makes plenty of sense, especially for
does.
those in the top 10.
Yep.
And very weird for Stephen as well. He likes to go to all the Pro Tour
does.
events. He barely misses any.
Nice
But
to go to
now that he's
everything.
in the Premier League this year and he's in the world's top 4, he's doing something he's basically never done his entire darting life. He's taken Pro Tours off, which is extraordinary.
Yeah, it's weird because usually you see Bunting go to pretty much every single event that there is on the calendar, but
Yes.
obviously maybe take some time off for a week. Obviously had a big event. Obviously didn't go incredibly. Actually no, that's harsh.
He got to a
he-
quarterfinal. I said before the tournament
harsh
that would
for
be
me,
a
actually.
pass mark if
Yeah,
he made the
that's true.
quarterfinal. So
Apologies.
I think he
No, you're right.
passed, the World Match
Made the
Play.
quarterfinal, so played 3 pretty good games in the end. But
Just started slowly in that quarterfinal
he
against Johnny
did,
Clayton.
he did, and Clayton was fantastic as well.
Mind you, he should have won the third leg, and then Johnny Clayton pulled out a 160 out.
Yeah, that's true.
And I
But
was like, oh no, I don't
there
think
you
he's
go.
coming back from this.
Interesting. 39 plays of the top 16. Wow, that's
It
incredible.
is quite a bit. It is quite a bit. Now, last week I talked
yes.
about order of merit and potentially making some differences. Well, clearly this idea has really catched on in the darting community. Dartsranking.com, where I spend a fantastic amount of time, have added a brand new feature called Point System. It allows you to go in and basically enter different values and see,
I see. Here we
how that
go.
would change the order of merits. And one thing you can do is you can factor to decrease the value of points from more than 1 year ago. So if we did that under my proposed system of 0.5, this is what it would be right now.
Okay.
So Luke Littler would be the world number 1 under the Lorenzo de Hayes Order of Merit system because
Interesting.
so he's the current
I'm
world
looking
number
at this.
1. I
have a
just
quick
threw
look.
this in there with no explanations for Josh. Barely made any notes on what I was doing
That's
on the
right.
rundown. So this is the world's 21.
This
I
is
ended
really
up just going down
interesting.
to. So
Really interesting.
you can factor it by anyways. Also did I half started looking at it, doing what it would be if all the money in the last couple of years used the prize money system that we're going to have. It's not, there aren't many massive changes. Obviously,
No.
Littler going to world number 1 is the biggest one. I think Mike DeDecker went up quite a few places under this.
He's sitting 12 on
simulation
this
as
one.
well. 12 as opposed to, where is he now? He's down like 19, I think. Yeah, 19 exactly. So they were the two big winners. Did Rob Cross fall down a few more places? Then
Probably.
yeah, from 9 to 16, he was a big loser from this. This feels a bit more now. The only way you see the system really work and see if it's doing what it's supposed to be doing is to see it happen over time. So just seeing it once is not much of anything. But when you take a look at this, it does feel a bit more accurate. I would say Littler is the best player in the world at the moment, just ahead of Humphries over the last a few months. He had I would argue that he had a stronger Premier League overall. Humphries won the whole thing, obviously. He was the better man on finals night, but in terms of the whole tournament in and of itself, he was the slightly better player. Van Gogh and those still clinging on in third there. Bunting and Wade still on the same spots. Damon Hunter just down 1 place to 11 behind Gary Anderson 10. So that's an interesting little fun thing you can do.
That's
you
cool.
can change it up down to 0.7. You can go all the way down. The real fun one is to go all the way to 0 and just make it a 1 year ranking system. That way Mike Tedeka goes up to world number 7.
Yeah.
They're still number 1 and it got more than double of Luke Littler. I think some big names really fall down. Michael Smith's down to 35 on just the last year of stuff. Yeah, so that's a fun little thing you can do and muck around with the factor and what the World Championship and all the different things would look like. You can go back and use the old ranking system, that sort of thing. So it's a fun little thing.
I like how on the top row it does the breakdown of what the
so it
prize
breaks
money is.
down
That's
what
really
the prize
cool.
money is. So you can see the
World
600,
Championship, World
for example,
Matchplay,
that World Championship. So just to sort of go through.
Players Championship. Sorry, you go.
Yeah, so it's all the it's the 8 ranking ones, and it's got Euro Tour and Players Championship. So, for example, the 600 in the Littler column, that's 500 from the £500,000 he won from the last World Championship, and half of the 200,000 he won 2 years ago being runner-up.
Yep.
So that's where the 600 number
Makes
comes
sense.
from. So you can sort of see how that breaks down. You can see, again, the real importance of that World Championship, which I'm going ahead, seeing what this system would do with the new system. It becomes even more important, unsurprisingly, when you've got a couple of guys with £1 million quid on their ranking, far ahead of anyone else. So it's a fun little tool to muck around with, and I think this is probably a slightly better approximation of where everyone stands at the moment.
Yeah, I
there
agree.
isn't massive changes. Littler obviously being the new world number 1 as of right now would be a big change.
Yep.
Mike Tedeka sliding up and Rob Kloss sliding down is probably fair. Let's see, is there any other... Let me go... I've put it here. Let's go beyond. Richie House was the next man out. Michael Smith's outside the top 24 on this. Dirk van Dijvenbode is the last man in the top 32. What about... I was looking all the way at the top, but let me go down. Jose de Souza in this system is currently sitting 64, so right on that Tour Cup bubble spot, which again feels about right. Well, big Jose.
So on the current one, he's 55 at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's sort of around where you expect. That's pretty accurate, I'd say.
Yeah. So that's this sort of new thing has developed here that we can have a bit of a look and see where the World Ducks would sit if we used a slightly different system. One thing I might do, Josh, is look to. I've been thinking about how exactly I would, particularly after they put in the. They've made the announcement for the new prize money changes.
Yeah.
I would go, how exactly would I do? Well, I'd probably put a bit more money on this event and a bit more for this event, way more for the UK Open, more for the World Masters.
That's true.
So more for the match play. So I might come back to you in a couple of weeks with what it would look like with my not only 0.5 factor, but what it would look like if they used the money system that I would, and we'll break that down. That might be in a couple of weeks. But overall, would you say this is probably a slightly fairer ranking system than the one we've got at the moment?
100% agree. I reckon you've nailed it with the whole 2 year and 1 year order of merit thing, the prize money that you're defending, the prize money that you've obtained in that year sort of thing. I reckon it's a really good indicator, actually. There's not many changes, but you can see the guys who have sort of won more money sort of the 2 years ago who were to defend it and haven't sort of gone deep in those sort of tournaments. So I reckon it's a pretty good reflection, to be honest. You've nailed it.
Yeah, so that's where that's that one. Interestingly, Nathan Esmore is currently world number 23, but on this system he's merely 21. Right. Let's move on to the future star, Paige Pauling again.
Yes.
She actually played on the Winter Gardens stage there in Blackpool and beat Rebecca Allen to win the JDC Girls Series Grand Final on the big stage. She was 6 points on top of the actual standings over Allen after the 10 events. With produced another big win. There was a $14 leg at one point as well, which was actually the first leg of the match. Broke 16 and hit a 1-3-2 to leave at 32 in the end. So a good performance from Paige Pauling to win the Girls Series Grand Final there, which is the latest JDC event to feature a one-off on-stage final. We see this at the World Masters, the Masters event previously. We saw this at the World Championship, of course, with their JDC World Championship, and this is another one, and the main one for the girls as well. The next one we'll see is the Vaults final at the World Grand Prix. So keep an eye out for that one. It's been a while for Sky Sports majors. They've got a little bit of a break now. Don't come back until the start of August.
That's true.
October. From mid July. Noa-Lynn van Leuven is always in the news, and this one. There's a bit more nuance to this officially, Josh, but take us over the sort of main thing, and I'll give you a bit of nuance.
Sure. Well, this just broke out yesterday, I think. So
yeah, yesterday.
Big headline: transgender darts star Noa-Lynn van Leuven banned from women's tournaments after new WDF ruling. So
specifically, this is a WDF thing, and this is not a PDC thing.
No, this is from World Darts Federation. So. There's a statement that was made. Comes after the WF updated their eligibility rules, the decision being ratified on Monday. Controversial ruling. The statement was, effective Monday, 20th of July, 2025, entry and participation in WDF women's and girls ranking tournaments and cups will only be open to players that are woman/female as defined under this policy. Accordingly, WDF tournaments, cups and ranking tables will be renamed and redefined as open, women, open youth and girls tournaments and cups.
So what that means is in theory, Bogrees could play in the tournament that Shane McGurk won last year.
Yeah, it's true.
It's open instead of closed in that way. So there's a sort of that'd be a fun thing to see if Bogrees said, no, I don't want to go to Adelaide. I'm going to go to the WDF Open.
Yeah, that's true.
Tournament. Well, I'm not even sure if she would be able to with the whole qualification thing, but also because it's changed mid-cycle, that might be a little bit different. But in theory, that's the way it goes. Again, it doesn't affect the PDC ruling. No. There were some unhappy people who were. It was a rare PDC security win when they were dragged out of the venue at the start of the Women's World Matchplay that went around on social media. Anyway,
where do you stand on the whole?
Just leave it to them.
Leave it to
leave it to the sporting bodies. I don't
enough.
want politicians and governments involved, given I don't trust them with many things, and I don't trust them with interfering in sport. And
fair enough.
If you want to do anything on women's sport, maybe increase some funding or make sure people of all genders are safe around coaches and that sort of thing. I feel like those are more pressing issues.
Spot on. You're right.
But leave it to the governing bodies to know what they do. And if you're upset about it, that's fine. But take it out on the governing bodies and don't take it out on by calling names at individuals. That's the other thing I would say.
Well, personally, I think they've made the right decision, but we'll leave politics sort of out of it. But yeah, it's interesting. I think they're doing the right thing for the game. But as you said, they've probably got bigger pressing issues at the moment.
There's other pressing issues in darts and politics, but that's what happens there. Yeah. But the classification of it as open instead of anything else sort of allows the way for Bo or Fallon or indeed anyone else to win the title that Shane McGurk and Paul Lim fought for in the final last year.
Sure.
Moving away, back to the PDC side of things.
Yes.
We mentioned that the top 16 weren't there most of the top 16 weren't there for the Players' Championship event 22, and Sebastian Bialecki won that Pro Tour event and loves beating Dutch people, apparently, because Jan van Veen, Danny Noppert, and Niels Zonneveld were all defeated in the quarter
All those
semi
Dutch
and
flags
final
up there.
stage along the way to that tournament win. And this is a good story, given Bialecki's been good in the last couple of weeks. He's just been struggling with hitting his doubles.
No doubt.
So he hit all the doubles he needed in this particular match. Had to, all the way from that first match, only 6-5 in his opening encounter, and there's a few 6-4s in there, 7-5, 8-6. So outside of that,
Pretty
a second round match against Alan Paxton where he won 6-2. He had to graft his way through a lot, up and down in the averages, a low of 89.9 and a high of 102. But overall, a very strong performance from Seb.
Sure. Well, as we mentioned earlier, there were little seeds that were there, but
And Ian White was a seed for
Yes.
this event, if you can believe it. In 2025,
That's pretty
Ian White was
incredible.
a seed for a Pro Tour event.
there you go. Well, even though there weren't many seeds, he did beat some pretty good opponents.
These are pretty good
Danny
players.
Noppert,
Danny
Jan van
Noppert.
Veen, Cameron Menzies, Luke Woodhouse even. These guys are pretty decent. They're pretty decent. They're not Premier League material, but
No, but all those
they're
guys you
pretty good.
mentioned were at the World Matchplay.
They were.
And
They
he
were.
wasn't.
They're
So,
in the top 32
yeah,
of
so
the 16 and the
yeah, so-
16. Yeah.
unsurprisingly, that moves him up the Werner rankings ladder to world number 79.
Yes. Massive jump in the order of merit for him. So he jumps 19 places from what would be
was
98
98.
to 79. So that's a nice bit of prize money for him, and that really gets him up the rankings.
It
So that's
absolutely
impressive.
is. I saw this during the week on the CLDC, which is the South American Pro Tour. Richard Sweeting is still in position to go back to the World Championship, but Jesus is from Argentina is closing on him, and
He is.
there's only 2 events left, and which we'll get a result on this in October, I think. Now, there's more other ways for South American darts players to make their way to the World Championship, so this isn't the be-all and end-all like it would be like with the African qualifier. But, yeah, Sweeting is currently in position, but under a lot of pressure there, so it'll be one or the other of the either the Bahamas or the Argentinian player there,
Yeah,
right
close
at the top of
finish.
the order of merit there.
Yep.
So a close finish coming up there on the
Two events to go.
DLC Pro Tour. I was going to mention this last week and then forgot to add it. The World Darts Championship. We have
Yes.
dates. We have tickets. December 11th it gets underway, which means December the 12th our time in the morning on the Friday. Luke
Yep.
Littler as the defending champion, presuming he doesn't fall sick or lose one of his arms,
Bail out.
will take to the stage at the
Lose his
Alexandra
arm.
Palace over on that date to kick off what will be the biggest World Darts Championship of all time.
No doubt.
Because it's got big money, it's got a big field. It's, if you follow tennis Grand Slams, it's the same format, 128 players, 7 rounds, single elimination stuff. And the prices here are pretty good. Like £100
Yeah.
is like what, 200 Australian dollars, maybe a little less now, for a table seat for the World Darts Championship final, which is strong. This is why they want to. They would rather leave these prices and just move to a big arena rather than bump up prices as a way to increase revenue. But yeah, this is going to be such an exciting. I'm looking forward to the World Championship because we're going to see so many new names, so many
Yes,
different
you will.
types of players. We're going to have some very interesting first round matchups. I think this upcoming World Championship has the ability to provide shocks on an almost daily basis.
Oh, for sure.
With that first round, we could see some names really be tested or even beaten on those first few nights. I'm really looking forward to this edition of the World Championship.
Depending, obviously, who qualifies, that first one could really break open some of our predictions.
Yeah, exactly.
And really
it's going to be very
break
hard
open
to.
the
I'm
tournament.
not even
It
sure if
could.
I'm going to be able to do a bracket with 128.
No, it'd be pretty hard.
127 matches due to be played. I presume the format will be as it has been in the previous
same.
years. First couple
Hope.
of rounds, first to 3. Next 2, first to 4, and then quarter semi-final is 5, 6, and 7.
Yep.
So I don't foresee anything changes there. But yeah, so that information was. That was actually a few weeks ago. One interesting thing I saw during the actual on the PEC article itself, it said it said a few things like we encourage you to wear a costume, but you'll be thrown out if you wear certain things, and it's the usual political sort of thing, nonsense sort of thing.
Fair.
Well, one of them was wearing football shirts. Yeah, so
Really?
did people think that someone wearing a Manchester United shirt was going to get into fist fights with Liverpool? I mean, that in theory could happen, but
Could.
was that too? Yeah,
Bizarre.
I'll see if I try and find the exact wording of it on the PDC website. This computer is about to die. Ticket
Football
price is
shirts.
confirmed.
Does that include AFL for those who
Well-
are AFL lovers over there?
I'm not necessarily sure. It just said, let me try and read the exact wording. Where is it? It was
funny.
in a. I think it was in a. Hang on.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, very odd.
'Cause
Here we
you
go.
see guys wearing
Club
bananas.
is there a dress code? Fans are encouraged to enjoy the party's atmosphere. Fancy dress is very popular with those attending, but all outfits must be appropriate. Club football shirts, high-vis clothing, as well as offensive, political, or unsafe costumes will not be permitted. Fans wearing such items will be refused entry.
High vis.
Now, high-vis again makes sense because it might be annoying for people around you and on television, might
Fair.
distract people. Offensive, political, unsafe, perfectly reasonable.
Yep, no doubt.
Club football shirts, though, really?
Has there been examples in the past of
I-
guys having punch-ons and table number 50 down the back or something? I got no idea.
I got no idea. That bit just reminds me. Marvel Stadium is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year, and there was
it is so.
there was a story on 7 News, and it referenced that darts exhibition where they threw a bunch of chairs and tables and stuff. That was about 10 years ago. That was funny.
2015.
Yeah,
wow.
so I reckon it was about 15 or 16. It was just an exhibition. It wasn't like a World Series or ranking event or anything. But yeah, that was weird. Maybe they're worried about something like that happening at the Ali Pally if someone
Maybe.
dares walk in wearing, Leicester, a Leicester shirt or
Aston Villa.
or at Newcastle United. Maybe
Very nice.
they will think too many Aussies would think of them immediately as Collingwood fans and start jumping on them. I don't know. Anyway, that was an odd thing. But the PDC World Championship tickets are out. They're very good prices, given how big darts is at the moment. Only £100 for a table seat in the World Championship final. But they go very quickly. They basically don't even go to general admission at this point. You would pretty much need a subscription to pdc.tv to make sure you have it. And even get much of a chance. Right, MODUS Super Series International Pairs lineup. We knew, of course, of Steve, Beaton, and Adrian Lewis. We talked about that heavily last week. And only 2 places left. Will we see Australia there, Josh? Fingers crossed.
I hope so. Well, I mentioned off air to you, given that Mason was on last week, maybe that will bring something to the whole announcement and the hype. Who knows?
It's going to be
Obviously,
Australia and
Simon lives in
Gibraltar. That's what
Portsmouth.
it's going to be. Australia and Gibraltar were
There
the
you
last
go.
two.
Called it. Maybe that last spot somewhere. Mason, Simon. Who knows? But hopefully, we mentioned that we'd hope they'd be in the first installment, but they weren't.
did, but they
They've
weren't.
gone to all of this. They've marked down what?
We've done so. That's
10
20
nations
yeah.
already.
So 22 when you include the 12 at the start. We still haven't seen an Australian one. And when the international pairs was announced, there was some talk about Australian one right away with obviously Paul
tons.
Nicholson and
Yeah.
Mason and Simon. So the fact we still haven't got it is slightly concerning. Hopefully that I can't. Is there any other nations that really stuck out to you that probably should be represented but hasn't?
Don't know. Has
Scotland. There's no Scotland yet.
Scotland was in last year. Sorry, in the first one.
Yeah, but you would but England was in the same one. Surely,
Yeah, true.
You would think they would
Maybe.
get. I mean, the Super Series guys love to bring in Scottish guys like Hendo
Listen,
and Thornton. So you would think maybe Australia and Scotland, maybe.
We'll
Any
find
other
out.
names? I'm trying to think if there's any other nations there. I went because I saw England and
Argentina?
Wales and went maybe. Kenya. No,
Peter
I
Ochuri,
think-
come
I
back.
think we've seen enough of Peter Ochuri for this year. I don't know where he's
No.
sitting in there.
Never.
In the World Championship races in Africa. Well, he's got to win the qualifier, doesn't he? Anyway, let's move on now to week 10. Richard McKee was the winner, 4-2 beating Ryan Branley in the week 10 final.
Yes, young Ryan Brownlee, the JDC superstar. He was there and he made a very deep run into the final. Richard McKee won every single game in the lead up to the finals night, so he was very, very good. Bit shoddy on the doubles, but just got there in the end. And he also nearly had a 9-dart finish to win the match. Here we go.
This would be a special way to round off a weekly win. Double 12 for a 9-dart leg.
Oh,
McKee, why is it?
just misses. So, fun fact, in the history of the MODUS Super Series, we have never, and I mean never, ever seen a 9-dart finish on finals night.
On Saturday.
That includes Champions Night as
That
well.
includes Champions Night.
Week.
So we've
yeah.
had, this is the 11th series
11th
of the
series.
MODUS Super Series. So we've had 10 full campaigns of 13 weeks. That's 130. Plus the 10 we've had there is, 140 MODUS Super Series finals Saturday nights. We're just counting it includes special weeks as well, but
Sure,
for this
yeah,
purpose,
true.
we're just talking about the
Mainstream
main
weeks.
series.
Yep.
Not a single 9-darter. which is extraordinary, given that that's the night they actually allow people into the venue, of course, in that small venue there in Portsmouth. So, extraordinarily, not there. Just yet. One of these days it will happen though, and it'll be great scenes, especially if it was to win the week. Would be brilliant.
Yeah, just like that
right.
occasion.
It would have been on that occasion. Right, in week
11,
11, Steve Beaton.
Yes,
We're staying alive again. He's
he
still
is.
around. He's still kicking.
is.
Jenson Walker as well, another big name you've highlighted.
Series
there.
10 champion. So he's back. No one really else. Adam Smith-Neil.
Adam Smith-Neil.
He was the guy that had the massive ban
he-
for 5 years, wasn't he?
Well, it wasn't that big, I don't
Wasn't
think.
that big?
That's why he's playing, because the punch-on was last year, wasn't it, or the year before?
Really?
I can't even remember. In March,
thought it
yeah, it
was
was March
earlier.
2024. He was
Really?
suspended for punching a guy at an amateur but still DRA regulated event. Remember, I
I thought
told.
it was like 5 years, wasn't it? No?
No. Where
bad.
was it?
Okay.
He was suspended. Was this in? I think this might have been the different one. I can't remember. I need to go back to the DRA website, which isn't very good. I'll try and find how long he was banned for, if he was banned for very long at all. I remember I sat here. It was when the World Masters was announced was going to be the Masters was going to be revamped as the World Masters. I sat here and I told you three that in a certain sense, Adam Smith-Neil was the recent defending champion for the World Series Masters, and that he was suspended earlier this year for punching a bloke after losing a pub match. And I am not making that
Good
up.
grief.
A hearing was convened. He was sanctioned for 8 months.
Okay.
With the ban backdating to the 12th of March, which means his suspension finished on the 12th of November.
Okay.
So he is free to play in. Remember, he played in the World Championship tour car qualifier. He did too. He lost in the first round. He couldn't punch his ticket to Ali Pali on that occasion.
Oh, pardon.
So he's in Group
I was
C for this week.
Hopefully he doesn't punch David or Richie, but I'll go through
Or
anyway.
anyone
So
else.
Jenson, Steve Beaton, Lee Evans, Johnny Barnes, Jurgen van der Vel, Ricardo Ham, Group B, Jim McEwen, Chucky's back, Chris Quentock, Jamie Atkins, then Group C, Adam Smith-Neil, as I mentioned, David Pallett and Richie Edwards. So that's your lineup for week 11. We go to the current Group A standing. Steve Beaton, Jenson Walker, no doubt are first and second there. The very similar leg difference in leg one, so they'll be competing for that Group A spot, you'd think. Lee Evans could make it as well. He's only one game short. And then Ricardo Ham, Johnny Barnes, probably not. Jurgen potentially, but Steve Beaton and Jenson Walker you'd think would be two-horse race for that Group A spot to qualify for Saturday night.
Yes, indeed. I'm pretty sure I made that same couldn't punch his ticket line during when I first mentioned Adam Smith-Neil in the lead up to the World Championships on Aussies Around the Grounds a long time ago. This is the who we've got so far. Through, well, this is actually a bit outdated. You haven't updated this, Josh, because it's down to 9 and 10, so we might as well skip that. The week ahead, there's really nothing in the PDC outside of this upcoming Pro Tour tomorrow. The big one, though, in Australia, in the ADA, their second tour weekend, 1st to 3rd of August, up there in northern Adelaide, in Elizabeth North specifically, so in North Adelaide. Same format, of course. Can Raymond Smith finally be beaten in ADA competition, or will he just continue to dominate? We'll find out over this weekend, presumably Dart Stream Live and all the usual places. PDC.tv will be covering the match the weekend. Of course, it's the second of 3 weekends, so we'll be the halfway at the sort of midway point. And when we come back next week and we'll dissect the week, there will be a bit to go through. Off the back of what was obviously a very strong opening weekend up there in Sandgate, Queensland.
Very good event.
So that is the main thing we're looking forward to this week.
Elizabeth North and Adelaide.
This was one of my better
Home of the
matches.
wineries.
45.963 average and a high score. I need to talk about this high score of 124. That was a 164 attempt. The treble 20 barely squeezed in there. The treble 18 was right in the middle and rushed the dart at the ball. Actually, no, I set off and left tops. No, I went for the ball. Of course, I went for the ball. Didn't make any use of my other couple of darts at double. But Josh was able to get over the line 3-0, 54.33 average. He's a lot better than me right now.
Same 3 dart as the 9 dart. That's pretty impressive.
In averages, yes.
Impressive. I mean,
also played an earlier match where I was much poorer. Why is that one so fuzzy? I've got no idea. Anyway, that doesn't particularly matter at the moment.
My first time was 87.67. That does matter. Hang on, let me try and put it back in again. Go back. I don't know.
It doesn't want us to see. It wants us to wrap things up. These
It's
computers
clear on my
don't have
side.
much battery left in them,
Anyway,
Josh.
no,
Last
don't.
week, I talked about Adrian Lewis and Michael Van Gerwen in the 2013 World Matchplay semi-final in a race to 17 legs. It was a thriller from the start. MVG missed a few crucial darts double, and Adrian Lewis was able to get the line over the line 17.50. And I'm not seeing what I just put in this week, but I believe it's World Matchplay related.
It is.
Is there an Englishman involved?
Let me take your mind back to 2014. Go ahead.
It's Gary and Phil, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, this is what I would have done. Yeah, it had to be Gary and Phil. It had to be. Yeah.
2014
This
World
was
Match
great.
Play semi-final. First of 17 leagues, obviously win by 2 colleagues. Prime Gary in his time. Obviously,
yeah.
obviously Phil was very, very good in his time as well. It was described as a Winter Gardens classic, and boy, it sure was. Each player does not give an inch. There wasn't many break of throws in this match.
No, this
but
was a hard match to break.
Anderson missed the big fish on Taylor's throw to swing the game in his favour. 32 legs, goes all the way, and boy, it was a great finish. So I'll let you watch that, around 40 minutes, that one. So watch that when you get some time.
It was another thriller
this
at the
week.
Gardens.
Absolutely.
Right, Josh, this show is done. This World Match Play is done. We've had to edit it a little bit because I've been bleeding, but we're all good here. I'm fine. I just get passionate about talking about the order of merit
course.
and wanting things to
As you
change
should.
and improve in darts.
Absolutely.
Big show. Next
always.
week, we'll talk about, well, there's a lot of Australian darts next week.
There is.
We've got ADA to review, and we've got the Australian Darts Masters. The big boys are coming
Yes.
here, including
Wollongong.
Stephen.
Yes.
They're going to the great darting city of Wollongong for the Australian Darts Masters. Kino Go is sponsoring it this year after they didn't really have a title sponsor last year. So that is great news for Australian darts as we continue to build towards that Premier League.
Yes, no doubt. Can't
Need
wait.
to keep an eye on that Premier League qualification.
October
as well.
4. Nearly
Yes,
there.
We're
Come
nearly
on.
there. We're not far away.
David Allen, where's the media passes? Come on.
We've been trying to get the media
Been
pass
trying.
forever. I've been trying to contact people, and it hasn't been going much of anyway. Anyway, though, we will be there at any rate because we
will.
have tickets, and we're beginning to think of ideas for what we might do on that Premier League
Pre-game
Melbourne
wondering.
night.
Yes,
and
we
sort
will
of
do
other
that.
general
Stay
content. We're really increasing our content on YouTube Shorts on Extra Time, which was badly needed. I've been only saying that for about a year. Now we're finally getting around to do that, and sort of across all our podcasts, the Crumbs, and in particular, we've been putting out a lot of that historical stuff. So yeah, like and subscribe. We've really grown recently,
We have
particularly off the
actually.
back of
Done
that
well.
off the back of that Melbourne Aces interview. That was a big helper
It was.
for us. And thank you very much for listening and help growing the 9 Hour podcast, of
Yeah.
course. Like and subscribe to Extra Time, of course. Like the video, subscribe to Extra Time. And next
Leave
week's
a
a big
comment
week.
too.
Next week's a big week because they're down under for a couple of
Yes.
weeks, including in this very country. That's exciting, Josh.
Can't wait. Thanks for being here.
This has been the 9 Hour podcast.